What's up, y'all? It's Ty. In this video today, we're going to be going over and ranking our top safeties in college football Ultimate Team right now. Now, a lot of these cards have gotten quite a bit cheaper over the last day or two, and so I think it's a great time for you guys to pick up any of these safeties. Now, as far as core elites, I don't really recommend core elites to anybody. I don't think they're that good, and honestly, guys, in my opinion, they're just slightly overpriced. So a lot of these guys are going to be some of your best free safeties in the entire game, but a lot of them are going to be budget options as well. Now, we're going to start it off at the top and then work our way down. We'll alternate because obviously they go top to bottom. As we dive into Wohler here, if you're new to the channel, please smash that subscribe button. When you look at Wohler, you're looking at the best free safety, in my opinion, in the entire game. 89 speed, 90 acceleration. Coverage-wise, you might be like, well, Ty, he's not that good. And look, I get it, but if you have 89 speed and 90 acceleration, what do you need good coverage for? I mean, he's 6'2" as well. Plays, obviously, really good in the run game. Good pursuit, good tackling. There's just nothing really bad you can say about Wohler outside of maybe you wish his coverage was a little bit better. That might be your only complaint. But again, with 89 speed, 90 acceleration, he for sure, to me, is an S-tier type of guy in the game right now. Wohler is an absolute beast. Lane, I do believe, up next, 84 overall. With Lane, you're probably looking at a really cheap guy, 21,000 coins, 83 speed, 84 acceleration, decent in coverage. I don't want to sit here and hype him up. He's okay, though. To me, though, when you're looking at this tier list, he's probably F tier. Not horrible, though. Like, if you're a North Carolina fan, you can absolutely run Lane. He can absolutely play, but not one of your best safeties in the game. Malachi Starks might be our only other S tier card. When you talk about good guys that are solid value, you've got to mention Malachi Starks, under 200,000 coins, 88 speed, 89 acceleration, great in coverage. There's not a better safety, in my opinion, in the game than Malachi Starks. And I don't know how or why he's 180,000 coins. It literally, to me, makes absolutely no sense with how good Malachi Starks is. This card's going to play for me for quite some time. It's that simple, that easy. If you're not putting Malachi Starks in S tier, I just got to say, I don't think you know ball. Zion Branch up next. Another one of your budget-ish guys here that we're going to go over and talk about today. 84 speed, 85 acceleration. Another problem with him is he's not going to play well in coverage. Does have better speed than Lane. I'm going to put him at D tier. But again, the problem with Branch is he's not great in coverage. Going to get absolutely cooked on that end. Ramsey, when the card came out, I said it and I still hold true to it. I don't think he is an S-tier safety, and if you're wondering why, well, he's only got 86 speed, and coverage-wise, he can't play any man coverage. And so when I'm looking at the best free safeties, I don't even know if he's A-tier. He might be B-tier, and I don't mind Ramsey because he's 100,000 coins, but I do think he's a B-tier caliber free safety in the game right now, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's fine, but that's just where Ramsey is at this stage. Yeah, I just wish he was a little better in coverage. Tackling-wise, really good. 6 feet tall. He does a lot of things well. I just wish coverage-wise, he was that slightly better, and I think that's a pretty fair assessment. Get another budget guy here in Barron. Another guy that I think can compete at a really high level, and I'm gonna be probably saying that a lot, but it's the truth. When you're looking at this card right here in Barron, he's got 84 speed, 83 acceleration, decent enough in coverage as well, decent enough tackler. To me, D tier is where he belongs, but I think he's slightly better than Zion Branch here. Again, cards are obviously relatively close, but I do think Barron is slightly better. The Honey Badger, Wohler and Matthew up next. I think A tier is the right spot for Matthew. Look, the problem with Wohler and Matthew is really the height, guys. He's only 5'9". That hurts. Really good in coverage, really good, obviously, playing the run is okay. But his best attributes in coverage, obviously, good speed, good acceleration, coverage-wise, fantastic with the 89 zone coverage. Do I think he's as good as Wohler or Starks? No. And that's why he is A tier. And the one thing about Wohler and Matthew, the Honey Badgers, he is absolutely not worth the price he's going for. So do want to include that. Make sure you guys know that I do not recommend picking up Matthew for his price. But again, he is an A tier caliber card. Preston Hodge up next, another budget option. And I like talking about these budget options because whether you have these guys in their B&D, whether you guys want to maybe look at picking these guys up, it's important to talk about 83 speed, 84 acceleration, really solid in zone coverage, only 6 feet tall. I don't love Preston Hodge, though, and honestly, I prefer Branch and Barron over Preston Hodge if I'm really looking at it. Xavier Watts up next. I think you're having another A-tier card. I think between him and the Honey Badger, it really is preference based. Xavier Watts, 87 speed, 88 acceleration, really good in zone coverage. Obviously tackling, can play the run game as well. Don't think he is Starks or Wohler level, but I do think A tier is where the card does belong. Wheatley up next, and is he our first C tier card? I don't know, but I'm gonna put him there right now because I remember when this card came out, I actually kind of like this card. Zirksee Wheatley, 84 speed, 85 acceleration, really solid in man coverage. Problem is zone coverage wise isn't great. Really good pursuit, not a great tackler. I'm going to put him at C tier because of the speed and acceleration combo. I think he is deserving of C tier over Branch, over Barron. For 13,000 coins, good luck finding better than Wheatley in this game. Next up, Eckler. I don't know exactly where Wyatt Eckler belongs. I do know he is free, and so if you have Wyatt Eckler, I'd probably recommend running this card. Again, just for the sole fact that he is free. 87 speed, 86 acceleration, really solid in zone coverage, really good tackler. The more I look at this card and Wyatt Eckler, the more I really like this card. He is a really good card. And honestly, guys, is he as good as Xavier Watts or Matthew? Probably not, but he for sure is B tier, right in there with Kamari Ramsey. And if you get this card for free, you absolutely should be playing Wyatt Eckler. Only thing he's not great at is man coverage. It's obviously, not his best situation, not a great tackler either. But Wyatt Eckler can absolutely play. And if you don't have him at B tier, I'm going to say it, I don't think you know ball. Genuinely, if he's a B tier caliber option in the game right now. Brian Threats up next, 85 overall. Let's take a look at him, talk about his price, talk about whether he is worth you guys picking up or not. 85 speed, 87 acceleration, 86 zone coverage. Another one of these cards that I'll be the first to say, if you play a lot of zone coverage, Brian Threats probably a B tier option, genuinely. He just can't play man coverage. He is undersized. But for 29,000 coins, again, if you play mostly zone coverage, Threats is an absolute beast. I don't think he's as good as Eckler, but he for sure is C tier. And honestly, I'm moving Wheatley down because I think Threats is in that C tier by himself. Genuinely think the card is extremely good. Brian Branch up next. Let's see what he's getting into. Obviously, he's been in the game for a while. 165,000 coins to me. Still ridiculous. 87 speed, 86 acceleration, 87 zone coverage. He's fine. But B tier is where he belongs. He is not an A tier safety in this game. He is not worth his price. B tier is where he belongs. If you want to run this card, that's fine. But he is B tier for sure. Austin Brown up next from Wisconsin, man. I don't even know if we should be talking about Wisconsin, the way they, Alabama handled them. But let's talk about him. 84 speed, 85 acceleration, better in man coverage and zone coverage. I do think he's C tier. It just comes down with Threats with Brown. Do you play man coverage or do you play zone coverage? Brown's going to be better tackling, stuff like that. I think the cards are both at C tier, both solid for their respective value. Clinton Dix. Is he A tier? If he's not, he's close. I looked at Dix today because I thought about maybe picking him up, and I really saw something with this card. 87 speed, 86 acceleration, 87 zone coverage, 85 tackling, 6'1". There's just really not anything bad you can say about Clinton Dix. Do think he's the upper part of B tier, but I think B tier is still where Clinton Dix does belong. Derwin James at this point, is it crazy? I'm going to put him at C tier. And I've ran Derwin James for some time. I do think he is the best card at C tier, but I think he's still C tier. And again, I've ran Derwin James probably as much as anybody watching this video, but he's C tier at this point. Holliman, this might come as a surprise, is A tier. Picked him up today for my squad this weekend because he finally got to a price that I'm comfortable paying. Like Gerard Holliman right now is 127,000 coins. Are you serious? 87 speed, 86 acceleration, great in man coverage, great in zone coverage. Not great at playing the run, but can play it decent enough. This card's got to be A tier, and he is for me. Wish he was a little bit faster, but when you talk about coverage safeties in the game, Holliman is one of the best guys. A tier is where he does belong. Minka Fitzpatrick, I'm going to go B tier with Minka or C tier. These guys are tough because, again, I've got a DNB Fitzpatrick, and he doesn't play for me. 86 speed, 86 zone, 85 acceleration. He's fine. He's actually really solid, and I do think he deserves B tier. It just is tough, though, because when you're talking about B tier, you're talking about some of the best safeties in the game. I do think Minka is B tier. But again, he's leveling off, right? Not great tackler. There are some downsides to the card, but I still think he belongs in that B tier. Caleb Downs. I haven't used Caleb Downs at all this year. Obviously, for obvious reasons, he's really expensive. 250,000 coins, 86 speed, 86 zone, 86 man. One thing about Caleb Downs is he's going to be great in coverage. He's not A tier, though. He's B tier. He's great in coverage. Gerard Holliman, simply put, is just better in coverage. Corey Thomas Jr. up next. C tier at this stage. When Corey Thomas Jr. came out, he was pretty hyped for obvious reasons. Number one, he is free. Number two, he's a solid safety. But at this stage, he doesn't get the job done as well as some of these top guys. I do still think he's C tier. But if you have him any higher than C tier, I just simply do not see it. Bud Clark up next. Now we're talking about a budget guy that I'm going to hype up in Bud Clark. I mean, are you serious? EA giving us Bud Clark 86 speed, 86 acceleration, great in zone coverage at 6'2". If you play a lot of zone coverage, Bud Clark is your guy, and he's going at B tier. I don't care, because if you play a lot of zone coverage, he is nearly a perfect guy to add to your squad. I don't love him at B tier, but that's where he's staying with 86 speed, 86 acceleration, 86 zone. That is where he's staying. VJ Payne, you're also staying at B tier. I'm not messing around with these cards. These cards are good. 86 speed, 90 acceleration. Coverage ride's not as good, but when you're that fast and play the run this well, I am going to put you pretty high. VJ Payne is deserving of B tier. Last but certainly not least, Kevin Winston Jr. And I mean, when you compare Winston Jr. to these other guys that we're talking about here, the problem with him is he's just not as fast. And because of that, he's going to go at C tier. Look, I know Kevin Winston Jr. is going to play coverage better than some of these other guys I'm talking about. I know that. I realize that. But what the other guys are going to do is, in my opinion, just give you a little bit more as far as the overall picture, right? I think they're just faster, going to play both the run and pass really, really well. That's why, to me, I've got Kevin Winston Jr. all the way down at C tier. That's going to wrap it up for our tier list. Again, these lower end of B tier could be at C tier. You can go either way with that. And I know that a lot of people are going to be mad at Corey Thomas Jr. He probably objectively should be up a tier. And I'm going to end it like this. It just really is tough to separate the C tier from the lower end of B tier, in my opinion. But that's going to wrap it up for our video. You guys can let me know your thoughts on this list down below in the comments. Who was I too high on? Who was I too low on? And ultimately, who did I leave off the list that you guys would have included? Drop a like on the video, subscribe if you're new, and as always, man, I love you guys. Have a blessed day.